start us off. Just starting off with Derek, I mean, just a few games into your college career, what is this learning curve like, and how do you feel challenged the most right now to grow and adapt your game?
It's just all about consistency. I just gotta stay consistent.
Drew, for you, playing Marquette, obviously, very physical style defense. What have you seen, especially from Cam Jones and Stevie Mitchell, two guards who obviously are pretty electric offensively? What do you guys got to do on that side of the ball?
Being a defensive-minded team like we are, just kind of stay to our principles and our culture and just, come out firing on defense. And I feel like offense is going to take care of itself.
And both of you guys like to press, obviously. Can you kind of explain from a basketball perspective, how does that work, like when both teams are heavy press styles?
I guess, it's just going to kind of be a dogfight. Really goes down to who starts off in their press first, making the shot first. That's really when the press starts. And like I said, just staying to the principles and staying real disciplined, pressing without foul and being aggressive without foul.
Derek, I know you've obviously talked about maybe wanting to shoot some threes, expand your range. What have they kind of done with your shot since you got here? What drills have they had you run to work on that part of your game?
The same drills that the guards be doing, just shooting. A lot of threes, a lot of reps, catch and shoot off the dribble, move around.
You do movement threes too.
Yeah.
For both you guys, Coach Willard has talked a bit through the first couple games about kind of balancing, having both you guys on the court together. He feels like he's giving the other team a bit of a free pass when you guys are both off, but then it's also difficult to play big guys more than, like, I think he said 8 minutes at a time. How have you guys seen kind of that dynamic through the first couple games, and how do you expect that to develop, I guess, as you go through the season?
Obviously, it's hard to guard. People don't got enough size to guard the both of us, and yeah.
Juju, for you, or I guess for either of you guys, Ben Gold, Marquette's big man, a bit of a stretch five. How do you guys, as defenders, what changes in your game plan when you need to go guard on the perimeter? And have you guys talked about who might be guarding him more on Friday?
He just want to shoot. He don't want to do nothing else.
He's kind of more, like I said, a face-up big that, stays on the perimeter a lot. So I guess it's a game plan switch, but I feel like it's preparing us, for the next level where all the bigs is on the perimeter more and being able to guard 1 through 5. And our defense is kind of tailored to stuff like that, and I feel like we'll make the adjustments as the game go on. It's going to start off a little bit rocky, but we'll be good.
I saw you guys and a couple other teammates were at the GW game last night. Can you talk a little bit about just going to see John and the support you guys shown for former teammate?
Yeah, I feel like that's important, like showing love for your guys and just making sure you're there for them. And I feel like us being there was meant the world to him, and it was just fun seeing him play and getting real comfortable with his new team, and it's just great seeing where his future is.
We don't see in college basketball that much anymore two above-average skilled bigs at one school at the same time. Just how have you guys pushed each other? Juju, how have you helped him transition to the college game? And what's it like for you to play with another legitimate big?
Him being so good, starting off so, like, as a 5-star coming in, being a sponge at the same time, not like letting it go in one end, going in one area, coming out the other. Just being a sponge, it was kind of easy teaching him. He's already, like I said, he's already such a good big, so that's another way it's easy. And just going at each other in practice like we've been doing. I think that makes each other better, the team better, and just overall good for the team.
It's great having him on the team. He taught me a lot. He's been in college for 4 years. Very good player, and he just helped me. He just helped me get through how practices and tell me like what things to do and what things to not do.
And just for you to give a little love to your AAU program, how was it playing with Team Thrill, and how did that prepare you to transition to the college game?
We traveled a lot, and then I played against a fair amount of high-level players, and which they are playing as freshmen. So me just playing against them helped me, like, prepare me for like the next level.
Kind of getting into that a little bit more for both of you. What do you feel like you guys take in terms of your style and your characteristics from, growing your games in Baltimore and being from that city?
Just playing a little harder, a little gritty, a little smash mouth basketball. Just playing a little harder and more gritty. That's pretty much it.
A lot of people don't make it out of there. So us being at the college level and getting to the next, and hopefully us getting to the next level, it's going to be a big thing.
Derek, you only spent a little time at St. Francis, but what do you feel like you really picked up there or learned there that has stayed with you through these years?
St. Francis, 4 years ago. I don't really remember a lot.
I think you were talking, it might be good for some of us, where you would get home from school and you'd go over to the court, right, and play, right, back over to the court. You did playing with some of those guys in the neighborhood help develop your game.
Oh yeah, I had a court like 2 blocks away from my house. Walk there, me and my friends. We just played outside all day, all day. Definitely no school days. When we had no school days, I play all day.
And last one for me, seems like a pretty exciting time with you guys here, both from Baltimore. Bub and Cam Whitmore were going head-to-head in the NBA the other night. What do you kind of feel about this generation of Baltimore Hoopers that might be different or even special?
I feel like it's really inspiring seeing those guys, especially playing against them in high school, playing with them in high school. And it's just inspiring to see, makes us want to do the same thing and inspiring the next generation to do the same thing as well.
And then I know both of you sort of talked about, your mentorship for Derek. What are some of the things you tell him most often just in practice about tips for getting better, tweaks to make?
Come on, ambition.
Slide you in the middle.
Go ahead, Jay.
Just play harder and kind of play with a chip on their shoulder. Just preparing for the Big Ten is way different from high school, and way different style of play at college basketball than high school, and I feel like he adjusted well. As you see his first game, just keep adding on to that and keep building on that.
Derek, what sort of stands out about what tells you throughout practice?
Pick my speed up, and just go hard every day.
And then for all of you, just sort of assessing where the team's at 3 games in, what stood out, or anything that's maybe surprised you heading into this big game?
I feel like our team is very versatile. Everybody's gonna have their night. Him first night, second night Rodney, me third night. So I feel like everybody's gonna have their night. We just gotta stay consistent as the team on defense. Everybody gotta have their night every night on defense, and I feel like if we do that, we'll be good.
Anything? Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Question for Jew. Obviously, you've been here for a while, a senior, you're a leader on the team, played a lot of basketball. But one of the guys, welcome in, who was maybe played even more basketball is Jay Young. I'm just curious, as far as a leadership role, I know he's on his 5th school. What has he brought to this locker room that maybe other people may not be able to compare to as far as the amount of stops in basketball he's played?
Yeah, he's brought a lot of wisdom, especially being at the point guard position, being a natural leader at that position and being very vocal and in practice. I feel like he's a very selfless player, playing a lot of defense, doing a lot of things that don't show up on the stat book. And I feel like he's just great for our team, a great piece, and overall good for the system.
All right, anything else for Juju and Derek?
Okay. Why don't you guys go? Let's get ready for practice. And then Sam will.
Deshaun, it looks like your jumper's a little less flat this year. Is that something you worked on this offseason? I know you talked about you took a bunch of shots, but what drills and what technique changes did you make specifically on your jumper?
I mean, me and Coach Willard just been doing like a lot of one-hand shooting every morning, just so like my hands getting all the way under the ball, and I'm not so reliant on my guy hand. And I feel like that's probably the thing that's helped my arc the most.
Is that almost like having to reshape? It's not a full reshape of your shot, obviously. It's a small little tweak. But how many reps for a player does it take to get used to that? Like that small change in a jump shot, you maybe have to stay up for your whole life and then kind of tweak it like that. How long does it take to get used to it?
I mean, even now, sometimes, like I've seen in the game right now, like I got to be kind of mindful of it because if I'm just like shooting the ball, I'm going to go back to my old ways, and I feel like that's why they haven't dropped right now. I just got to keep repping it. I mean, I'm still doing it every single morning. 8 o'clock, Coach Willard be here. He's sticking with me throughout. Know how many misses or makes he'd be here every morning with me the next day. So, I mean, I feel like I just got to stick with it, and just more and more reps is just going to be more like second nature, so I don't got to think about it in the game.
You guys have a couple guys, Jew, obviously, other guys who come in and maybe change their jumper a little bit.
Yeah.
What drills do you guys do specifically to kind of make technical changes like that? Is it individualized for every player? Do you guys all do, certain types of shooting to make it? Like, what type of shooting drills do you guys go through?
I mean, I feel like Coach Willard, he be promoting the one-hand shooting a lot. I just feel like because it helps your form the most and just making sure you're not relying on your guy hand because a lot of people be having like a thumb flick or relying on their guy hand. So, I mean, I know me and Jude been working on that all summer, but I feel like every guy got to do different things to help them fix their own jump shot.
Deshaun jumped in late. What's been the most encouraging thing about the 3 wins that you guys have been able to stack together?
I mean, I just feel like Drew said earlier, like every game is just someone else's night. So just see how stacked our team is and how talented we are. And then, like, I feel like we are almost like one of the deepest teams in the country, just like with experience and like the level of talent that we have. So I feel like that's been the most encouraging thing for me.
Also playing a ranked team this early in the season, how does that raise the stakes? What do you guys hope to learn Friday night?
I mean, I feel like everybody like wishes for these games, like a Friday night ranked opponent. Like everybody dreams of that. Like growing up, you want to have like the big game on Friday night. So I mean, I feel like it's excitement. I know a lot of people going to be there, and I feel like we're ready to go out there and play hard and get a W.
What has been the one thing or multiple things that have jumped out to you when you've watched film of Marquette?
Definitely just their shooting ability. Everybody can shoot it 1 through 5, and then you always know they're going to play hard every single year. They got a great coach, so I feel like they got a great coach over there. They're going to play hard, and like I said, the 3 ball. Everybody can shoot 1 through 5.
And in terms of your game, especially on the offensive side, there are driving lanes available with how Marquette plays. Do you see opportunities when you're watching film? Do you see opportunities for you within the structure of your offense that you kind of say, yeah, I can see where I can get downhill here, or I can make a play there?
I mean, I feel like every game I go in with the intention to get downhill and like getting guys involved. I feel like that's one of my biggest talents, like getting paint touches and getting easier shots from my teammates. So I feel like that's my mindset every game.
And I know obviously a big part of Marquette is Cam Jones, and you're someone who talks a lot about wanting to guard the other team's best players. With him specifically, what are you hoping to do, and what about that matchup is intriguing?
I mean, I feel like he's a great player. Definitely going to be a tough matchup, and I feel like we just got to limit his touches and make him do things that he's not as comfortable doing. I know he's a great shooter. He likes to get to his left a lot. So, I mean, for me, I'm going to try to just deny him the ball when he gets off it, and then when I'm on him, try to force him to use his right hand and keep him that way.
It seems like over the last year you sort of embraced that defensive role, trying to do the little things. How are you sort of able to maintain that energy and doing that even on nights maybe where the offense isn't coming as naturally?
I mean, like, when I see guys going out there scoring all the points and stuff, getting all the offensive rebounds, I feel like my only job is to play defense and try to do all the little things that maybe that they're not doing. And I feel like that's just something that, like, takes no skill. Like, I can hang my coat on that every single day. Like, I'm going to go out there and play hard, take charges, play as hard as I can on defense because that takes no skill. That's just all effort and energy.
know last year you talked a lot about Deshaun's growth on the defensive end, had some big games. I know the one where Iowa came here, what he did to Peyton Sanders sort of stands out. For you, what about him on that end makes him so valuable, and what have you seen this year?
Yeah, I think the fact that he can guard really 4 positions is really what makes him valuable. He's got the toughness to, if we switch him on a 4 and they roll a 4 in there, he can battle that way. He'll win rebounding wars against bigger guys, and he's got the smarts and the quickness to defend little guys when we switch on to him.
Yeah, and then do you see that defensive end maybe is a more defined role this year now that there are a lot more scorers on this team in the backcourt?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is a team still trying to figure out their roles a little bit, and the one thing that I know Deshaun always understands is that he's going to bring extreme value on the defensive end.
And Marquette specifically, obviously Cam Jones does a lot for them. What does it sort of take to stop him, especially when they have guys that can space the floor around?
Yeah, I mean, they're such a different team from last year just for the fact that although they're a veteran team, you got Gold out there picking and popping. They do a lot of slipping. Cam does a great job, a lot of throwbacks. They take a lot of threes. It's just not Cam. Cam does a great job facilitating, but I think Stevie Mitchell does a really good job in their offense too. So they're a very balanced team, even though Cam I think he's averaging 25 or whatever he's averaging, but they're a much more balanced team than just Cam.
All right, we'll go to Sam and then Kyle.
What's changed about Marquette the most, losing Kolek and Oso, obviously, from last season? I mean, I know Mitchell and Cam.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is their big last year was not a threat from the outside. He was a heck of a player, and obviously where he got drafted. Kolek is, I think Cam's taken over Kolek's role pretty darn good. I think the biggest difference from them is I think you could always kind of clog them up just a little bit from watching film last year to where this year I think a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker, and obviously with Gold and Joplin at the 4 and 5 technically, you have 2 guys that can really shoot the ball. I mean, Joplin I think took 10 threes the other night. Gold, I mean he's going to put them up as quick as anybody. So I think that's the biggest difference. They have 5 shooters on the floor, where last year they maybe had 3.5. I would count Kolek as a half.
Yeah, and then kind of that contrast of style, right? You're playing 2 bigs. They kind of have guys who can shoot it. How much is you guys punishing them down low versus them picking and popping? You guys, are you worried about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good contrast. We're gonna have to throw it in and really try to be physical inside early in the game. And at the same time, our big guy is going to have to guard a little bit, differently than what we have. The good thing is we've played 3 games to where we've seen 3 different styles that they've at least had to adjust. This is a new style. We're going to have to do a lot of different pick and roll coverages that we haven't done just because of all the stuff Gold does.
And then last one for me, shooting wise, obviously this team, you got some guys who tweaked a little bit. Deshaun, Deshaun talked about one-hand shooting, obviously taking the guide hand off, but what else do you guys do to kind of, maybe reshape or make small changes?
It really just depends on the guy. It really does. It's shooting is such a. By the time they get to you, you're talking about an ingrained pattern that they've probably been shooting the same way since they were in grade school, believe it or not. So you have to be really, really careful for what you do and how you try to make changes with each individual guy, because the shooting forms are so drastically different. You can have a guy like Reggie Miller who had some of the worst form but was one of the greatest shooters, and then you have Steph Curry who probably has the most purest form of shooting as the greatest shooter. So it really is an individual basis. I try to not do crazy overhaul changes because it's an ingrained pattern that they've been doing for so long.
Kevin, just that
works.
Just to talk about Juju and Derek. Obviously, Juju been in this program for such a long time. Through the first 3 games, what have you seen him do in terms of, in game, helping Derek adjust, getting him kind of suited to college basketball?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's been a two-way street. I think Derek's helped Jew a little bit, and Jew's definitely helped Derek. I think Jew has really helped Derek with the physicality and getting ready for the physicality of college, especially what we're going to see on Friday night. It's a different level of physicality than what we've seen so far, or what Derek has seen so far. But I think Derek's also when they're out there, they talk to each other about what he sees, and get here when I'm here, and Jew does the same thing. So I think they've worked really well together. And I think they both helped each other out. But definitely more than anything, Jew has really helped Derek be prepared for the physicality.
And I know Derek has had a couple stops between Baltimore and here, but
Really just one.
Oh, sorry. But when you kind of look at the common DNA between those 2 players, being where they're from, what do you kind of see as a coach?
Yeah, I think the really cool thing about, although Derek went to high school and Derek got coached by one of the best high school coaches in the country. Derek lived in Baltimore all summer long, played on the same AAU teams, were in the same gyms, worked out with the same guys. So, I think they're very similar in the fact that they love where they come from, they appreciate where they come from, and I think it's helped that the fact that they've been around the same people. Although Derek went to high school in Florida, for 5 months a year, he was back here training, playing, doing with all the same guys that you did.
Kevin, 3 games into the season, what's been the most encouraging thing you've seen on the floor?
I definitely think our bench play has been really. I thought it would be a strength, but I've been really happy with what our bench has done, from a tempo on the defensive side, from a steadiness on the offensive side. They've come in, and I think they've done a great job, every one of them, of giving us something different off the bench.
And then playing a ranked team this early in the season, what things, outside of the obvious, what sort of things do you hope to gain from Friday night? What do you want to learn about your club?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great test. This is a little bit like, going to play Iowa, with 5 guys that can shoot, space you out, tempo. I want to see our defense translate to the next level, I think, more than anything. And obviously playing in a different environment is probably the next biggest thing. Playing in front of fans is something that's, we're going to see. And so our guys getting used to it and being ready for that is something that, I want to see how they react to that a little bit too, because it's a different feeling in this building, obviously, for a Marquette than it is a Florida A&M. And that's not a negative connotation. It's just reality of college basketball.
Kevin, Rodney Rice is obviously a guy that was very highly touted coming out of high school, goes to Virginia Tech, and things obviously don't work out, battles a lot of injuries. But, since coming here is really kind of broken out. Just what do you think is working for him? What do you think you or the program has given him that has allowed him to do that? And, what was it maybe just as simple as a change of scenery?
No, I think it was a combination of things. Sometimes, injuries are really tough when you're a player. And he had some serious injuries at Virginia Tech, and I think him coming home and having his family support to try to get him back to where they wanted him to get was huge. He's got a great family. They're 30 minutes away. So I think having that support, fighting through injury and getting back was huge. And I think the other thing was one reason he really wanted to come here is he knew, he would have some freedom on the offensive end, but also that we were going to be patient with him and work with him to get him back. He really liked that aspect of this program, that we were going to spend a lot of time and just not put any pressure on him to be a guy that's unreasonable. So I think he's played great. I think he's going to continue to get better as he gains more confidence, because he's put a lot of hard work in.
And then Jay Young, obviously a guy who's on his 5th team now, but really brings a lot of experience. Just what has he added to this locker room, being a guy that, I feel like a lot of other people can't relate to having that much basketball, under their belt?
Yeah, Jay's been Jay's been probably the best addition by far for me because he's got a really good way about him. He's got a smile on his face. He's a great teammate. You don't have to run anything for Jay. You don't have to worry about Jay. He comes in the gym every day and he's really fun to coach. And in today's environment, with all the stress on these guys and NIL and all this other stuff, Jay's a little bit like a throwback. He just wants to, he really wanted to come here and play at the highest level and give himself a chance, to experience it. And so he's been a great addition from a leadership standpoint, from an attitude standpoint. He's been terrific.
Kevin, a bit of a random stat here, but your staff is one of 4 in the Big Ten that still wears suits on the sidelines. Just wondering for you, what's the history and tradition behind that? That seems like a bit of a lost art in college basketball.
Well, we all wore suits until COVID, and I really didn't like COVID. I thought that that whole year and a half that we were acting crazy, so when we came back to pretty much normal, I wanted to get back to normal. And for me, normal was when Coach Williams coached here, he wore a suit. When my dad coached, he wore a suit. When Rick Pitino coached, he wore a suit. When Dean Smith coached, he wore a suit. It seemed like everyone before me respected the game and respected their institution. So for me, it was more about respecting the game and respecting the people that I'd worked for. And so that's why we still wear suits.
So for you, is that did you take more of that from Coach Pitino or Coach Williams?
My father and Coach Pitino, yeah. I mean, I think my father is one of the best coaches that ever coached from the high school level to the college level. He wore a suit. Even though as he got older, he wore a turtleneck and a suit, which was kind of weird. But he's not the most normal guy. And then Coach Pitino, I mean, if you had your shirt untucked the wrong way, he'd let you know about it. So I just think there's a level of respect. My president wears a suit. My AD wears a suit when he goes to places. I just think there's a level of respect that we should have. And, a lot of guys disagree with me, and I'm fine with that. But that's my feeling on it.
Have you talked to other coaches around the league on their thoughts?
I could care less what and they could care less what I do. They have their own issues. And, Matt Painter wore, I think he wore a polo all year. I'd take his year over me wearing a suit any time. So different birds, different animals, man.
Last one. I know
You're really on this, aren't you?
Yeah. I know you and Mick have a close relationship, and he's still one of the 4 that still wears suits. Is that just like a tradition that you guys have carried?
No, I mean, Mick worked for Coach Pitino, too. And again, I think Mick is the head coach of UCLA. I'm the head coach of University of Maryland. Those are big jobs. I think that he understands there's a level of respect. I mean, John Wooden coached there. I didn't see John Wooden coaching in a sweatshirt. So I think there's a level of respect that you have to have for the tradition and history. I think Mick understands that as much as I do. Thank you.